who was 1.80 meters tall and weighed 105 kilograms, had a chest circumference of 1.24 and a neck thickness of 50 centimeters. His arms were molded, his wrists were thick, and his hands were very strong. It's not known whether it is a legend or not, but it is said that he could break thick wood with a single slap. He had 3 amulets around his neck. This is how Ahmet Mithat Efendi described him. Kara Ahmet became the world champion by knocking down all his opponents in the 1899 World Wrestling Championship held in France. However, this wrestler, who packed dozens of achievements into his short life, didn't end well. Kara Ahmet was born in 1871 in the territory of Deli Orman, which is today within the borders of Bulgaria. Deli Orman was such a mine of wrestlers throughout history that famous wrestlers such as Koca Yusuf, Filiz Nurullah, Hergeleci İbrahim, Kurtdereli Mehmet, and Kelaliço always came from here. Kara Ahmet was one of them. Because he was born into such a culture, Kara Ahmet has been interested in wrestling since childhood. By age 20, wrestlers in the region could only challenge him. For this reason, at the age of 21, he traveled to the capital city of Istanbul in Ottomans to find equal opponents and improve himself further. When he arrived in Istanbul, he found Hergeleci İbrahim, one of the well-known wrestlers, kissed his hand and said that he was a close villager and wanted to train with him. Kara Ahmet, who started his apprenticeship with Hergeleci İbrahim, appeared in this first serious competition 2 years later. In 1894, at the wedding of Mustafa Danish Efendi, the Mevlevi Sheikh of Gallipoli, as a means of entertainment. His opponent was Memiş from Kazandereli, a well-known and experienced pehlivan. After defeating Kazandereli in 1996, since he had been wrestling with oil since his childhood, he defeated all his opponents without difficulty. Finding himself more suited to the Greco-Roman style of wrestling, Kara Ahmet took lessons from Faik Bey, the gym teacher, at Galatasaray High School, and then called Mektebi Sultaniye to learn more about this style. Not content with this, he began training at the Totonia Training Club, which Melanos had founded in Istanbul, in the style of Greco-Roman wrestling. At the same time, he was taking French lessons, reading books, and improving his mind. He wrestled with Adalı Halil, one of the greatest wrestlers of the Ottoman Empire, who challenged him and drew with Adalı Halil, who was 10 centimeters taller and 30 kilograms heavier than him. Kara Ahmet, who had earned a place in Europeans' memories because of his success in wrestling in Paris a few years earlier, was invited to France for the World Wrestling Championship in 1899. He reached the final of this championship. In the final, his opponent, the famous French wrestler Laurent Le Boquerois, was much more professionally trained, taller than Ahmet, and weighed 128 kilos. Black Ahmet, Kara Ahmet, was only 1.80 meters tall and weighed 105 kilos. Despite this, he lasted a long time. Final lasted 1 hour and 6 minutes, and in the end, Kara Ahmet defeated his giant opponent, Bokewa. He became the Ottoman Empire's first official world wrestling champion in the Greco-Roman style. However, Kara Ahmet received another challenge from the French. The challenger was the famous French wrestler Paul Pons, who had previously won 3 world championships in different wrestling styles. His first wrestling match with Paul Pons ended in a draw. In the second match, Kara Ahmet's eyebrow opened and the bout was postponed. The third wrestling match was held on January 10, 1900s at the Folies Berger Theatre in Paris in front of a huge crowd. Kara Ahmet defeated Paul Pons in the third match, retaining the title of world champion. After this match, the famous Russian wrestler Pitlasinski, an important name in wrestling in Paris and Russia, asked for a match with Ahmet. Kara Ahmet pinned the Russian wrestler in 53 seconds. Pitlasinski was so ashamed of this defeat that he left Paris in shame. Kara Ahmet, who left no opponent to beat in Paris, competed in Berlin, Vienna, Hamburg and Budapest and was never defeated. When he returned to Istanbul, he had dozens of gold medals. Sultan Abdülhamit II invited him to the palace and rewarded him with a badge of honor and a salary for successfully flying the Ottoman flag in Europe. As the calendars showed the year 1902, something unexpected happened. On May 25, Kara Ahmet was sitting in a cafe with his friends when he suddenly collapsed, saying, "I don't feel well." He lost consciousness as a result of a sudden heart attack. Kara Ahmet, the world champion, passed away at the age of 32, or so it was told. The next day, on May 26, after the funeral prayer performed by a large crowd of people who loved him, he was buried in the cemetery on the left side of Pierre Loti. However, some strange events took place that night. People passing by the cemetery heard some strange moans and shouts. In the morning, Pehlivan's grave was immediately opened. According to rumors, Kara Ahmet was found in the grave, covered in blood, his shirt torn. According to speculations, Kara Ahmet had fallen into a coma as a result of heart attack and was buried alive, presumed dead. Struggling to get out the grave, the wrestler's hands and chest were damaged. Finally, he suffocated from asphyxiation. Upon this sad event, the grave was closed again and Kara Ahmet was sent off to eternity. See you in the following video. Goodbye.